from right here is where their epic adventure began. Hey everybody, this is Russ from Family Tree Nuts, and I'm at the Falls of the Ohio State Park outside of Clarksville, Indiana, on the banks of the Ohio River, just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky. I'm at the location of the retirement home of General George Rogers Clark. Many of us are familiar with the words Lewis and Clark. They're part of American culture and heritage. And right here is where their journey began. In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson worked out a deal with France that became known as the Louisiana Purchase. President Jefferson appointed his aide, Meriwether Lewis, to lead an expedition to explore the new Louisiana Purchase and try to find a waterway to the Pacific Ocean. Meriwether Lewis asked his friend William Clark to help co-lead the adventure. William Clark was staying with his brother, General George Rogers Clark, when he received a letter from Meriwether Lewis requesting him to go on the adventure. While Lewis was back east making preparations for the journey, William Clark began to recruit men from Louisville and used his brother's house as a base camp. It surely didn't hurt recruitment that General George Rogers Clark was the conqueror of the Old Northwest, the Washington of the West, and the founder of Louisville. The men that William Clark recruited became known as the 9 Young Men from Kentucky. Their names were William Bratton, a blacksmith and a gunsmith. Later on the journey, Bratton came down with a terrible back injury, and he was cured by an Indian sweat bath. John Coulter, who later became the first white man to see the steam vents and boiling mud pits in the area that became Yellowstone National Park. The brothers Joseph Field and Reuben Field, who on the journey took part in the fight with the Blackfoot Indians. Charles Floyd, the quartermaster of the trip, and the only member to die while on the adventure. George Gibson, he played the fiddle on the journey and was used as an interpreter with the Native Americans using sign language. Nathaniel Pryor, who was a cousin of Charles Floyd and the first sergeant of the group. Later on the journey, he was asked to sit in on a court-martial of Privates John Collins and Hugh Hall. They were accused of stealing whiskey and drinking on duty, and they were sentenced to 100 lashes. Another was George Shannon, the youngest on the adventure. Once, he got separated from the group for 16 days and almost starved to death. And John Shields, the second oldest of the expedition. Later on, he spent some time hunting with Daniel Boone in Missouri. Also, an original member of the Corps of Discovery was a man named York. York was an enslaved man belonging to William Clark since childhood. He performed his duties like any other man on the journey, and he has several interesting stories from the adventure. The Corps of Discovery set off from here on October the 26th, 1803. Imagine their excitement. Now, I know I've just scratched the surface on the epic adventure that was the Lewis and Clark expedition, but I wanted to take you where they stepped off, right here, from the home of General George Rogers Clark. The names Lewis and Clark are forever ingrained into American culture, and here's where the adventure began. Family Tree Nuts, let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree. Like what you see? Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the little bell so you get notifications as to when we post new videos. And you can find out more about us and contact us at familytreenuts.org.